Hello guys, welcome to the next session in Jenkins series. So in this session, we will see about the Jenkins parameters concept, okay, and then we will see how we can create and run the Jenkins parameterized job. Okay, so these are the list of some important Jenkins parameters. Okay, so if you are going for the interview, if someone asks you about the Jenkins parameters, so in that concept, at least these parameters you should know. Okay, so if you could explain these parameters in the interview, then it will definitely benefits you. So before looking at these parameters practically, let's go and find the difference between Jenkins job without parameters and Jenkins job with the parameters. So first, let's create a Jenkins job without parameters and we will run that job. So click on new item. Here I will create, let's say, Jenkins without parameters. Let's take it as a Maven project. Click on OK. Okay, so in this project, I am just going to run any Maven project. Okay, so on my GitHub repository, I have this sample project created. So I am going to run this Maven project. So this you have to provide in the source code management. Okay, so I am going to pull and run the code from this GitHub repository. Okay, so this is the project I want to run. Okay, and below we need to specify the branch. So in this project, I can have multiple branches. Okay, so currently we have a master and new feature branch. So I am going to run the master branch as of now. So in the build section, we need to provide the pom.xml file. Okay, so Maven project, we are running a Maven project means we are going to run the pom.xml file, and here you need to provide the goal. Let's say clean test. Okay, that's it. So this is our simple Jenkins project. As a part of the Jenkins job, we will run our Maven project available in our GitHub repository. So you can see here on the left hand side we have build now button. Okay, so for Jenkins job with the parameters, we will get another option. Okay, so this is a simple Jenkins job without parameters. So you just need to run these Jenkins jobs. So whatever configuration you had done in this configure option will be used while running this Jenkins job. Okay, so you just need to simply click on this build now button. So this will start our first build and it will pull the project from the GitHub account, keep it in the local repository, and then it will run that project. So it will run as per your test cases and your pom.xml file, whatever dependencies and plugins you have added, it will download and run the test. Okay, so that was very simple Maven project where I am just printing this statement, Jenkins parameter session, and this is the master branch. That's it. Okay, so this is the example of Jenkins job without parameter. So Jenkins job with parameters, that means we need to create a Jenkins parameterized job. This will be our Jenkins parameterized job. So here we will create some parameters, Jenkins parameters, and while running that Jenkins job, we will select those parameters, and whatever values we will select for those parameters will be used while running that Jenkins job. Okay, that means it is quite similar to our Java method. Okay, once let's say you created a method without any argument, without any parameter. Okay, so we are going to directly call that method. But if you create a generic method which accepts some arguments, some parameters, so we need to send those parameters while calling that method. Okay, at the runtime. So why we create that method? Because we can run that method with different values of the parameters, right? So this Jenkins job, we can create the different parameters, their different values, and those values we can use while running the Jenkins job. So now let's see how we can create this Jenkins job with parameters. Okay, Jenkins parameterized job. So again, I will go to the demo projects. I will click on new item. Let's say Jenkins parameterized job. Again, select the Maven project. Click on OK. So under this general section, you will find an option to create this Jenkins job as a parameterized job. Okay, so you need to select this checkbox. This project is parameterized. So if you select this checkbox, you will find this drop down. So under this drop down, you will find the different Jenkins parameters. Okay, so in the list we have Boolean, choice, credential parameters, extended choice parameters, file, password parameters, string parameters. Okay, so among them I have listed some important parameters. Okay, as a basic level, as a beginner level, we should know all these things. Okay, at least these 5 parameters you should know. So let's see one by one. So here I will add, let's say, Boolean parameter. So it is a Boolean parameter. That means its value will be true, otherwise false. Okay, only 2 values it can have. So I will give some name to this Boolean parameters. Let's say I want to run my automation and I want to record the test case execution. Okay, we are running our test cases on the Docker, let's say, and I want to record the test case execution. Okay, so I will provide some parameter here. Let's say video underscore recording underscore recording. So by default, if you want the value of this parameter should be true, then you can select this checkbox. Okay, so every time this video recording will be on while running the test cases. Okay, so I will not select this checkbox. So normally we just want to record the test case execution for the failing test cases, right? So that time only user can select this checkbox. Okay, so here I will provide some description. So this will be our Boolean parameters. So next parameter is a string parameter. Okay, so this parameter will accept the string values. So from this drop down option, select this string parameter. So let's say I am going to use email ID. So default value for this email ID. Okay, so if you run any automation, if you want the test case execution report should be sent to some default email ID. Okay, the whole testing team, let's say automation team or manual testing team, then you can add that default value here. And while running this project, you can add other values also at the runtime. Let's say autoqa@abcd.com. Okay. Okay. So you just need to add the email ID to which you need to send the test automation result. So you can add multiple values separated by comma here. Okay. I will show you while running this Maven project. So first, let's look at the next parameter. So next one is password parameter. Okay. So password parameter can be used in your project when we are let's say you need to run any database query into your MySQL or let's say Cassandra if you are using. So you need to connect to that SQL server or Cassandra, right? So you need to provide the username and password things. So in this case, you can use this parameter. Okay, password parameter. Let's say db underscore password. So I will give some default value here. Okay, so you can see it is not showing me the value of this whatever text I have entered. Okay, so this will be kept hidden from the user. Okay, as it is a password parameter. So please provide the password to connect to the DB. It can be MySQL server or Cassandra or any other database. Okay, so we have added these 3 parameters in this Jenkins job. Okay, so that's why this project will be a parameterized job. Okay, so I will add more details here. So same project we are going to run. Okay, apply and save. So now if you see on the left hand side, we got this option build with parameters. Okay, so previously we are just getting the build now button, right? For Jenkins job without parameter, we are getting the build now button. Okay, because that Jenkins job do not have any parameters. Okay, but this Jenkins job we have created with the parameters. So while running this Jenkins job, okay, while building this Jenkins job, we can select the parameters. So after clicking on that button, you will see this page. Okay, so on this you will find all the parameters whatever we have defined in the configuration option will be available. Okay, so as per user's choice you can select the options here. Okay, so this build requires parameters. So what are the different parameters? This is the one video recording, then email ID and then DB password. Okay, so users have this choice to select and unselect or provide the values to these parameters. Okay, so let's say I'm running my automation. I want to record the video recording. So I will select this checkbox. Okay, that means value for this video recording parameter will be true. Okay, then email ID, by default email ID will be displayed here, whatever you have provided in the configuration. So you can add the multiple email IDs separated by the comma here. Let's say tester1 @abcd.com. Okay, so you can add multiple email IDs here, and this password parameter value will not be shown to the user. Okay, for security purpose, right? So you can change the password from here. It will go to the configuration option again. Okay, and now I will click on this build now button. So first build is in progress, so it will go to the GitHub. It will pull all the project and it will run that project. Okay, so this Jenkins job has run successfully. So on the left hand side you will find this parameters option. So just click on that and you will find what are the different parameters and their values that user have selected for this particular build. Okay, so for build number 1, these are the values for the parameters I have selected. Okay, so you can find that in it's kind of a history for that particular build. So you can use these values for those parameters in your framework also, in our automation framework. Okay, so if you want, we can print the values for those parameters in the console. So just go to the configure option again. So in the pre-steps, okay, before building the project, let's say I want to run some Windows batch command. Okay, so I am going to print the values for those parameters. So whatever parameters you will define for this particular Jenkins job, Jenkins will convert all those parameters into the environmental variables. Okay, Jenkins environmental variables. So for this Jenkins job, this first parameter will be video recording. So Jenkins will convert the environmental variable with this name. Okay, so it will have 3 environmental variables: video recording, then email ID, and then DB password. Okay, so if you want to see the values for those parameters whatever user have selected for that particular Jenkins build, then we can just simply print those values here using the Windows batch command. Okay, so let me print the values. So when you are running your Jenkins project on the Windows machine, you need to write this percentage symbol. Okay, so 2 percentage symbol, and between them you need to provide the parameter name. Okay, so echo video recording and its value will be shown here. Okay, so whatever user will select option for this video recording or whatever values added in the email IDs field, that will be displayed, okay, in the console. And if you are running on the Linux machine, then you need to use the dollar sign. Okay, that also I will show you. Let's say execute shell, and if I want to use the value of, let's say, email ID, I will provide like this. Okay, 2 curly bracket, and under curly bracket, let's say video recording. Okay, like this you can reuse the value of the Jenkins parameters. Okay, so if you are using the shell script in your automation framework, all those environmental variables values can be pulled into the that shell script. Okay, using this dollar and 2 curly bracket and the name of the parameter. Okay, quite easy. So I will remove this parameter. So as of now, we are just going to print the values whatever user will select while building the project in the console. Okay, click on apply and save, and again we will run this main project with the parameters. Okay, so this time I will not select the option video recording, so value should be false. Then in email ID I have provided, let's say, 2 values. Now click on the build. So the second build you will find it will display the values for the parameters first, okay, as a pre-build step. So here you will find echo video recording. So value of the video recording parameter is false, right? Then value for the email ID parameter that user have entered is, these are the 3 email IDs. Okay, and password value is ABCD. And after printing these parameters, it will run the Maven project. Okay, the goal clean test. Okay, so for this Jenkins job build number 2, it has used the parameters that you can see in this parameters. Okay, as a history. So user had not selected the video recording, then user has added these 3 email IDs. Okay, and then DB password. So next Jenkins parameter is choice parameter. So I will configure the same Jenkins job. Okay, so as example, I'll give you a simple example. So as a part of this choice parameter, I can define multiple values in this choice, and user will have option to select any one option from that list while building the Jenkins job. Okay, so let's say, for example, I am running my automation, so I should have option to select the browser, okay, on which I want to run the automation. So I will define the browser parameter here, and its value, let's say, Edge, then Firefox, and then let's say Chrome. Okay, so I am giving 3 choice to the user while building this Jenkins job. So automation can be run on the Edge or Firefox or Chrome. Okay, so it depends upon user. If you want to run the automation on the Chrome, you just need to select the Chrome option. If you want to run the automation on the any other browser, let's say Edge, then you need to select the Edge option. Okay, so as Edge is available at the first position, this will be by default selected. Okay, so you can give the space also. Okay, so that this blank value will be a default value, and every time user will have to select the value from that drop down. Okay, so let's say description, select the browser on which you want to run the automation. Okay, I will add one more choice parameter. So let's say I want to give the choice to the user on which server he want to run the automation. Okay, there can be multiple servers, QA, UAT, integration or production. So that choice I want to give to the user. Okay, server, and let's say QA, UAT, integration and prod. Okay, so these four options user will have while building this Jenkins job. Okay, so user can select any one of this option. So I think you will understand the use of choice parameters with these two examples. Okay, so I will click on apply and save. So while building the Jenkins job, this time I will select different values here from the browser. So you can select any one value at a time. Okay, let's say Chrome, and I want to run the automation on the QA server, let's say. Okay, I will click on build. Okay, so we have not printed the values for the choice parameters, right? So let's go and print the values. So in the pre-step, you just need to add the echo statement here. Okay, so this statement will print the values of the browser and server, whatever user select while running the Jenkins job. So click on apply and save. Build with parameter. Click browser as Edge and let's say UAT. Okay, so those values will be printed in the console. So you can use the values for this browser, server, password, email ID, video recording in your automation framework also using the shell script file. Okay, so another use of choice parameter, another example, let's say on the GitHub, I have multiple branches, right? So I want to give the choice to the user on from which branch he want to build the Jenkins job. Okay, whether he want to run from the master branch or this new feature branch. Okay, so that choice I want to give to the user. So how you can configure this Jenkins job for that? Again, for that purpose, you need to add the choice parameters. So for that purpose, you cannot use the string parameter or Boolean parameters. You should have the choice parameter because you need to provide or give the choice to the user while running the Jenkins job. Okay, and in that choice, you need to provide the different values. Okay, so here you will find that we are by default running the master branch, right? So I need to provide one choice to the user from which user can select from which branch you want to build the Maven project. Choice parameter, let's say git underscore branch. Okay, and different values means different choice. So one is master and another one is new feature June branch. Okay, so you can have multiple branches in your GitHub repository, right? So one by default is master. Then let's say I have this new feature June branch. Okay, so these are the two values will be displayed in the drop down for the users. Select the git branch from which build should be created. Okay, so user can create the build from the master branch or from this feature branch. Click on apply. So I want to use the value for this git branch parameter in my project. Okay, while running this Jenkins job. Okay, so if you specify like this, by default it will consider the master branch only. Okay, so if you want to make this generic, okay, so while running this Jenkins job, Jenkins should consider the value for that git branch parameters. Okay, for this branch specifier. So how we can use that? So here you need to provide the value like this. So use the dollar and in the curly bracket just provide the name of the Jenkins parameter. Okay, so whatever user will select for this git branch parameter from the choice, that value will be replaced. Okay, will be added here, and from that branch only our GitHub project will be pulled and it will run that Maven project. So let's see how it works. So build with parameter. So currently I want to run this Jenkins job and it should consider the master branch. Okay, so click on build. Okay, so whatever value we have selected for that git branch parameters will be used while building this Jenkins job. Okay, so that you can see that here. Okay, master branch. So it has considered the master branch only. And here also I have printed the statement Jenkins parameter session and it has the master branch code. Okay, so for verification, if you see the master branch code in the test, we are printing that statement. Okay, master branch. And if we run from the feature branch, then we should see this statement. Okay, so this time let's rebuild this Jenkins job with different value of the git branch. So this time I will select this feature branch. Okay, so if you build this Jenkins job, this time it should print this value. Okay, so whatever code available in this branch code will be used to build the Jenkins job. So here you can see new feature branch. Okay, new feature June branch. So it will run that test case from the feature branch. Okay, that means it is working fine. So this is how you can make a use of Jenkins parameters. So Jenkins will convert all those Jenkins parameters into the environmental variables. Okay, and you can use the value for those environmental variables in the Jenkins job itself or in the shell script file for our automation framework. Okay, so for this sixth build, we have selected the value for the git branch as new features June branch. So now let's see what is extended choice parameters. Okay, why do we require it when we have the choice parameters? Okay, so let's find the difference. So if you want to use the extended choice parameters, first you need to add a plugin into your Jenkins server. Okay, so one plugin you need to install in your Jenkins server. So let me show you that first. Go to the dashboard, go to manage Jenkins. Okay, so if you want to add any plugin, you have to go to the manage Jenkins. Okay, so that plugin I have already installed. So this is the plugin you need to install. Okay, so once you install that plugin, just restart your Jenkins, and while building the project you will get option. Okay, so one more option you will get while configuring the Jenkins parameterized job. So if you go to the configure, let's say here in this drop down you will not find this option extended choice parameters without installing that plugin. Okay, so once you install it and restart the Jenkins, you will get that option is available now. Okay, so what is the difference between these choice parameters and extended choice parameters? Okay, so to understand difference, let's take an example. Let's say in my framework we have hundreds of test cases. So from that hundreds of test cases, I need to give the choice to the user, how many test cases or which test cases he want to run. Okay, so out of 100, he just want to run the first test case. Let's say first or second or third. Okay, so accordingly he can select that test case number, and only that test case will be run on that particular server or particular machine. Okay, so I will add one more extended choice parameters. So using choice parameters, I can select only one value at a time. Okay, so you will find the difference here. Let's say test cases. So let's say I have provided values here. Let's say test 1, let's say test 2, let's say test 3. Okay, so I have added this as a choice parameter. So user can only select one option at a time. He cannot select multiple values at a time. Okay, using this choice parameters. Okay, so that I will show you first. So build with parameter. So from this drop down, you will find that user can select only one choice at a time, right? So what if I want to execute multiple tests? Okay, let's say I want to run all these 3 tests, right? So how we can select this? So using choice parameter, it is not possible. Okay, so that's why this extended choice parameters comes into picture. Okay, so I will select extended choice parameters now. So let's say name of the parameter is test cases, and here I will provide select the test cases. Okay, you can select one test case or say test cases to run. Okay, so user will have choice. Okay, he can select one test or he can select the multiple choice also at a time. So what are the different values for these parameters? So that values you can get from here. Okay, so select this radio button, basic parameter types. So this choice parameter, extended choice parameter test cases. Okay, test cases. So for those parameters, how do you want to show the values? Okay, in the form of multi-select or radio button, or in the form of checkbox, text box, like that. Okay, so I want to give the option as a multi-select. Okay, so that user will be able to select the multiple values. Okay, it depends upon the user choice. Okay, and number of items in that drop down, let's say 10. Okay, and delimiter means how the different options or different values for that choice will be separated. So those values will be separated by comma. Okay, for example, and here I will select the choose the values. Okay, so I will select the values here, and here you need to provide the values for that parameters. Okay, so for choice parameters we have directly added values like this, right? So here I will give value like this, and you just need to separate those values for the test cases by comma. Okay, so these are the three values will be available for user to select. Okay, so you can select one value or you can select the multiple values at a time. Okay, and you can get these values from the property file also. That also I will show you later. So I will select the default source value. Okay, or let's say none option. Okay, so none option should be there in the drop down. So by default this option should be selected. Okay, so it depends upon you. If you want to run a specific default test cases every time, then you can add that value here. Okay, so as of now I am giving none option, so this none will be selected by default. Okay, that's it. This is our extended choice parameter test cases. So let me print this value, test cases to run, and between two percentage sign just provide the name of the choice parameter. Click on apply and save. Okay, build with parameter. So now you will find this drop down here. Okay, so this is as a part of choice parameter from which I can select only one test at a time. But if you see from this drop down, if I press control, I can select multiple tests also. Okay, so I have selected all the three tests. Okay, that means I want to run all these tests, three tests. Okay, from the master branch, on the QA server, let's say from on the Chrome browser. Okay, and please record the video also and send email to this all the QA team. So I will click on build. So build number 7 in progress. So you will find the value for this test case to run. Okay, test cases parameter is test 1, test 2 and test 3. So user has selected all the three tests that need to be run on the QA server, on the Chrome browser, and email will be sent to this, and we will get the video recording also. Okay, so for video recording, when we are running on the Docker, we have I have already added a video how we can record the test case execution on the Docker Selenium grid. That is already available in the channel that you can see. Okay, so from the parameters you can verify the values for the test cases, test 1, test 2 and test 3. Okay, so this is just one example how we can use the extended choice parameters in the Jenkins, and how you can use it in your automation framework also. Another example can be, let's say I will create one more parameterized Jenkins job. Okay, let's say, okay, by using this job I can deploy the different builds on different servers. Okay, so let's say this is my freestyle project, for example. Click on OK. So again I will give parameters and select the, let's say, string parameter. Okay, so we need to provide some value, let's say build number. So which build you want to deploy. So let's say default value is latest. Select build number to deploy. Okay, and on which server you need to deploy. So for that purpose you can use the choice parameter. Okay, or you can use the extended choice parameters if you want to deploy that build on the multiple servers at a time. Okay, so you can use the choice parameters if you want to deploy the build, or you can use the extended choice parameters so that you can select the multiple servers at a time. So I will use the extended choice parameters, say server. Okay, and you can provide some values, let's say multi select, or you can provide the checkbox also. Okay, so this time I will show you this example. Let's say QA server, comma, let's say UAT, comma, integration. Okay, apply and save. So here you will find user have option to provide the build number. Okay, so if you want to deploy the latest build, he can use the latest. Okay, by default latest is selected. Okay, and what server he want to deploy, so you can select the checkbox. Okay, so as per his choice, if you want to deploy the latest build on the QA server only, so he can select the QA checkbox only. If you want to deploy a specific build number, then he can specify it here. Let's say hash number, let's say second. Okay, so deploy second build on the QA server and click on build. Okay, so this is another a simple example for the Jenkins parameterized jobs. Okay, so in real time projects you will find this kind of Jenkins jobs available for deployment. You will have separate Jenkins parameterized job. Then for running your automation you will have different choices. Okay, in the Jenkins parameterized job. Okay, so we have seen two examples, one deploy build and this Jenkins parameterized jobs. So in the automation it is not always that we run on the same server or same browser. Okay, so you need to provide the choice to the user to select the whatever test cases you want to run, on which browser you want to run, on which server you want to run, or what branch you need to consider while building that Jenkins job. So I hope from this example you will understand this Jenkins parameterized job concept.